Welcome, folks. So today we are going to continue to discuss our final projects and specifically tools that we'll be able to use to help ourselves. Make it easy. Okay, so as you know, we will be working on the project outline and finding some references while we are in class. But it's possible that you don't have much experience finding references or finding good sources, right? Reliable sources. There are a variety of sources that we will be able to use, and I'm going to kind of force our hand to have to use some of these. So, there are various types of sources. There are primary sources that you can get information from. These are research articles. Some scientists maybe performed research on the drug that you're interested in, and they wrote a paper saying what their scientific research was. There are secondary sources where people kind of read a bunch of primary sources and summarize them. Oftentimes, folks, primary sources and secondary sources are written with language that uses a lot of jargon you might not be familiar with. They're kind of hard to read, they're challenging, they're difficult, right? I want you to feel confident that you can read this type of writing. You can use me as a resource, and in a little bit, I'll give you an additional resource to use that I think will be helpful. Finally, you will be able to use other media sources, right? A first place that I always go when I'm trying to learn about a new scientific topic is, can you guess? Wikipedia. This is not going to be a reference that you cite in your paper, but it is a good place to start. Oftentimes these days, scientific Wikipedia pages have references on them. A lot of them have pretty decent citations. Or if you just want to kind of have a baseline of understanding, Wikipedia is a great place just to, start to understand your drug of choice. But other media sources, right? Like search Google, maybe there's a YouTube video, maybe there's a news article, right? These are the types of sources that I want us to start thinking about. For our final project, at least 2 of your 5 sources need to be scientific in nature, okay? The rest can be other types of media sources. If you're having trouble finding sources, of course, come to me. My office hours are here for you. But of course, you can also catch me in class when we work on this together before it's due. So now we know what various types of references can be. Where do we find references? Well, Google Scholar is a good place to start. Pretty sure that's the URL, scholar.google. Google Scholar is a good place to start to find references, right? Let's say I want to look up cannabis. If I Googled cannabis on Google Scholar, I'd get so many hits. The thing is, not all of those are going to be free for you to access. Another good source of kind of like human medically related articles is PubMed Central. All of the articles on PubMed Central are free. If you type PubMed Central into Google, it'll be the first thing to pop up for sure. For any articles that you want to use, but they are not free, please feel free to use our library's website or talk to a librarian. Librarians are the best of people. They help you find the information you need, right? And if we don't have access to it through our library's website, you can also do something like an interlibrary loan where our library gets it for you and you can access it for free. Of course, for things like a news article or other media, you can just do a regular Google search or search on your browser of choice. Finally, how do we find references, right? When you're trying to find something on Google Scholar or on PubMed Central, the words you use to search are important. These are called keywords. The use of keywords is key. Ha ha ha. Let's say our project was on cannabis. I might want to use the word cannabis, or I might want to use the word marijuana. Maybe some articles will pop up if I use marijuana and not cannabis. Depending on my focus, I might want to also include the word smoking, or maybe edibles, or maybe vaping, right? I'll get different results depending on the words. I can use phrases like cannabis use teenagers, right? If maybe my kind of societal impact was focused on how teenagers are using cannabis, that would be the keywords I used. You can also do things like use phrases cannabis and pain and cancer, and that will bring up searches that have all of these words in it. Okay, so that wraps up kind of this first section of material. We've talked about what types of resources we can use, where and how we find them. Next up, we'll get into more specifics of writing. How do we incorporate these references as citations?